Episode 3 of Season 4, Open House. Not too much to say about this one. Definitely not the most exciting episode ever. You have this with every TV show. Seasons are usually, 13 episodes. And, after the excitement of getting over what happened last season and then setting up this season, you're going to have a couple slow episodes. It's to be expected. It's just when you have to wait a week between them, it could kind of be a little frustrating. But not every episode is going to be people killing each other and stuff. But um, and they don't necessarily have to do everything they do in these slower episodes, but they have to do something, and it can't all be crazy exciting. So I thought it was a bit too much Hank and Marie this week. She was a big focus. Her and him were a big focus of the episode, which is weird because I like their storyline this season, but I kind of like how it's developing and stuff. But the whole thing with her going into open houses and you know stealing stuff and making up stories about herself that she's other people, fictional people. It reminded me that she was a klepto, which I had completely forgotten. Like I didn't remember that at all. But then it came back to me, and I was just it made me like her less. I know people are flawed and everything, but I just don't get people that steal. I mean, I get like a big heist, like the Shield and those guys ripping off the money train. That makes sense, but people that steal like petty things, I just don't understand it. So it made me feel less sorry for her. But and obviously Hank is going to replace his like rock obsession. I'm sorry, mineral obsession with the Gale case, and he's probably gonna be doing as much as he can from his house, trying to figure stuff out. Like my favorite part of the episode was probably when Jesse asked Walter to go go karting of all things, and Walter's like, "Nah," and you can just see like the look on Jesse's face, like how desperate he is. And then the scene with him go karting with like the foreboding music and him just like you know going around trying to stay numb, screaming, and then going back to his house, which is just turned into an absolute nightmare where people are screwing each other and fighting, and there's homeless people living there. And he just like I thought like at some point he would snap about it and just be like, "All right, everyone, get the fuck out." That moment's coming eventually, but he's amusing himself with it now. Like the end of the episode, he's like throwing money, and then he goes, "Hey, everybody, money!" or whatever. Like a bunch of animals go like fighting for it. And then the other angle you had in this episode was Skyler negotiating, trying to get the car wash, coming up with a scheme to make the guy want to sell, and then her negotiating, which is I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of the whole thing. Like I know they gotta do it, they gotta find a way to launder their money, but I just kind of want it to get done. But the way she goes about negotiating it is cool. And the scene with her and Walt, and they're waiting for the phone call, and her negotiating tactics. She's definitely smart when it comes to business. Obviously smarter than Walt. And I like the scene where they're celebrating with the champagne, and she's just like, "You paid how much for this? You have to be careful. The devil's in the details." He's just like, "It's fine. I paid cash." And she's like, "Yeah, where would you get that cash? If anybody saw or asked, where did you get that cash?" And then she's like, "Well, we still have to drink it. We have to destroy the evidence." Um, and then you have that new guy. I don't know his name, but the new black guy that's watching over everything. He's watching Jesse's house, which is interesting. And by the way, it's been confirmed, I guess, by Vince Gilligan that in the previous episode, the guy who calls and says, "Go home, Walt," was that new black guy. He's just out there watching stuff. But overall, I mean, those are the things I liked about it. I could have done with a little less, Hank and Marie, but the Hank storyline is gonna get better now that he's gonna be looking at, closing in on Walter basically. I really like. It was weird because like last week I'm like, man, this Jesse shit sucks, and then at the end I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. Now I'm like totally into Jesse's storyline. I think his acting, Aaron Paul's acting, is just incredible. So I hope we do get more of Jesse, but I hope he somehow pulls himself out of his funk here, his depression and his guilt. But yeah, my favorite part was the scene with him go karting, probably because the music playing over it was just so creepy. And then just him getting back to his house, and you're like, oh my god, what has happened to his house? Another interesting thing was like how at the beginning when Skyler sees Walt's eye, and she's like, "Oh my God, are you in danger?" and this and that. It's like interesting to realize like most people still view him as this mild mannered guy who was a chemistry teacher, and it's interesting to realize how little she knows about what's going on. Like she's getting more and more involved with the money aspect of it all, but she doesn't know what Walter has done and the kind of danger Walt really is in. The preview for the next episode looked way, way more exciting. It looks pretty crazy. You have Mike saying that you know, uh, they're not being careful. We have to do something about this, and you definitely see some violence and stuff going on. So the next episode looks really good. I can't wait for it. You have to have these slow ones. It was okay. You definitely won't remember it even by the end of the season, really. So, but it's building up to when we get to the exciting part. It just sucks that I have to wait another week for something else to happen. But I enjoy watching it no matter what. The characters are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on the episode. It's just one of the slower ones. You just gotta deal with that. Anyway, give me your thoughts, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.